Hello everyone. Let's try and write an async downloader in Rust. I thought it'd be good practice. So much of my code study has involved Tokio, which is async, but I haven't really paid quite so much attention to stream. Now, I know it's two separate things, but there is some overlap. Now, let's consider what we need to add. It wasn't until recently when I realized you don't have to drive a future with Tokio. You can use futures executor, and I believe there's some other ways. What I want to cover here, so apart from anything, I think that without writing too much code, the imports are actually worth being aware of, knowing, memorizing if you dare. So I'll go add Tokio. If I'm being good, I'll do RT multi-thread macros. Is it FS, file system? I think that's it. I'm going to add, so to download or make the request to download the files from some example endpoint, I'm going to use cargo add request. But the features, we need stream. Because I'm going to show the progress. I'm going to show because we're going to do a big download. So showing the progress is just a nice thing to show. Right, so we've added Tokio with multi-threading, macros, added request with stream, and we'll add futures util. I always get muddled up, so it's the hyphen here. But when you use it, it's an underscore. I started typing this earlier, so. In fact, let's clear this out and start from scratch. Good. So, imports. Use futures util. I think it's stream ext for starters. Use Tokio. Writes bytes asynchronously. This trait is analogous to the std.io write trait, but integrates with the asynchronous task system. Okay. We want to return, we'll write a function, but even our function needs to bubble up a request error. So we'll do results. Unit or request error. There it is. And then just to get rid of the annoying error. There we go. Okay. We need a function. In fact, we'll do starting download. We'll call it download task. Now that download task needs to be await because it's async and it's running inside main, which can also handle that. And then async fn download task, which will also have the same result. URL equal. We want some sort of URL from paste bin or something. Okay, I went off and got this URL. It's speed.cloudflare.com/double_dunder. Dan question mark bytes equals 10 million. Okay, so this is where we get our response, then we can stream the response, because the response is going to be too big just to fit in memory. And then because request is async, the question mark operator. Oh, we need to wait. Right. Let total equal response dot content length and there's some more and none. Let's unwrap it. Just be lazy. Actually, we could do unwrap or and then just say it or it's 0. I've got my keyboard. Which way? I've got 2 different language settings on my keyboard from when I was learning Spanish, and it's yeah, it's really annoying. Yeah, that's the wrong one. That's better. Total size 36. Didn't want to, but I'm just going to check this with ChatGPT because it's free. I know Claude's better. Why does this say 36? Is it just the length of the response message? So because this is the URL, this is what Cloudflare. So this is not really Rust. Wonder if that says something different. Yeah. Wow. So why was that 36? Almost certainly the number of bytes in the HTTP response body, not the 10 you requested. So it reads the content length header that Cloudflare sent back. Yeah, so that's what we got. Okay, onwards. This is where we need to handle the stream. So stream is mute, mut or mute. I know that's very contentious. Response dot bytes dot stream. And we want the file. We want to write this to a file. So we'll make a new file. And we'll do this with Tokio because it needs to, we want it to be asynchronous because it's being run by the Tokio runtime. And then the syntax should be the same as it would be for standard libraries. File, create, and we can just give it a name that we choose. Because it's Tokio, we need to await it. Well, not because it's Tokio, but because it's async. So run the future with the runtime. Let's mute them loaded. So this will be U64, which is not ideal, but later on we'll need F, but the bytes will be integers. So that's why we need U64, not F64 at this point in the code. Let mute chunk count. Again, that's U64 as well. Oh, why doesn't that compile? Okay, so we should be using boxed in stud IO error, shouldn't we? We don't know what size the error is going to be. It's just stud error. The same here. Compile. There we go. Okay, so far so good. So we've specified the URL. With request.get, you can also do send. This is kind of the more concise, just say get and then URL. You will see examples where there's various bits chained. You'll specify the URL, then the method, then send, then await. But you don't have to. If you do, it's got a definition. It's just like a builder. Right, so we've created all the bits. We just need to actually do the while loop now, I think. While, just look at, I have got some notes. I'm not gonna BS and pretend I'm doing it all from scratch. So while let some chunk. Yeah. I think it's good to type it all in anyway, because just the slightest typo, for instance, the underscore on the 10 million, even if you're working off notes, just one odd typo, or yeah, you can still learn plenty. So stream.next, the stream is what we get from futures util. So once we've completed this, that unused import should lose its yellow warning. Yeah, yellow warning's gone. So that's going to return a result of bytes. Notice how so stream, we get the next function from futures util stream ext. And then let bytes equal to chunk. So at the moment that's a result, so we need to, do you see how we can, by using the question mark, effectively it unwraps it, which is kind of nice. It's very good once you stop trying to read everything from left to right, top to bottom. So here, you're awaiting the next thing from the stream. And if it's some chunk, then you're going to create a variable called bytes, which is equal to your unwrapped chunk. It kind of goes that way. Now we want to write. So we've got a file, which is download.bin, file.write. So many write methods there, look. We want to write the bytes, and that they will be borrowed. My keyboard I need a new one, but I can't afford it. It only works with the left-hand shift key and not the right-hand one. I tried to blag a keyboard from some numerous, I asked really nicely from all the top Chinese keyboard companies, but I didn't get a single. I think one of them offered me 5% discount, but a 5% discount on £100 keyboard. I can't afford to spend £100 on a keyboard. YouTube, well, this Rust channel doesn't make any money, but my Python one, which is dying slowly, that used to make, before AI, that made 1 month it made £90, so over $100 in a month. 3 years later, it makes £14, so about less than $20. So the only reason I do all these videos really is just for my own memory. What's it called in French? Aide-mémoire. Downloaded. So we need to increment downloaded. Downloaded plus equals bytes. And we won't be needing bytes again, so we can use it without the ampersand as F64 because we're going to do some division in a minute. Microphone's in the way. Chunk count plus equals 1. Bytes len is U64. I'm getting ahead of himself. I'm trying to do all this without looking at the notes. So as I say, I've got some notes. Don't worry, this will work. If I get stuck, I'll dig the notes out. I've got them over here. If chunk. So now what we want to just do is display this every 10 chunks. Otherwise, it's just going to fill the screen with mess, spam. I'm just going to do the last 2 bits because they're easy. At the end, we'll do file.flush. It depends what platform you're on. I think Windows may do this for you, but it does no harm anyway. And download, let's just say download complete. We'll just say what the name of it is. So this would actually work. It just would not show the progress. Let's run this actually. That's odd. I think I've got an indentation, not an indentation, you know what I mean. If I, yeah, so we have got download bin. .5 MB. Because it's 1024. Yeah, so there's some, it's not quite 10. Okay. Let's fix that little issue. These two need to be outside of that scope. File flush, we don't want to keep doing that. We only want to do it once, which is at the end. Okay, let's just run that. And then we'll just do the boring bit, which is the, yeah, that's pretty quick. I'm sure it's taken that longer the other day. Maybe it's because I'm recording this on a Saturday. Cloudflare servers aren't so busy today. Just checking if I missed anything up here in the in main. No. Right, okay, let's just finish this off then. So what we need to say is if chunk count mod mm, 10, doesn't matter, you can change this to whatever you want. Let's just go with 10 for the time being. So we want to show the progress as a percentage. So let progress equal downloaded as, this is where we do the F64 bit. Downloaded over total as F64. And then times 100.0. And then we'll print the progress, the chunk count. Let me copy that because there's loads of typing I don't want to do. Copying and pasting code is such a bad habit. You always miss something and it bites you and it takes 4 times as long. Just risking it here. Yeah, you see, this delimiter might not be properly closed. Cannot find value downloaded. This is interesting. When I was working out this code, I was trying to piece together various tutorials and some ChatGPT provided answers. Note this, manual implementation of is multiple of. Let's try that instead. We've got an extra download complete there. That's because I did it in main. We don't need it. Right, so we had a typo. And also I was manually doing the show every 10 chunks when in fact you can use dot is multiple of. And we don't need async write because we use an async write ext. I think Rust Analyzer or whatever it is added something in when I wasn't looking. There we go. Starting download, total size, download complete. That it's not printing the progress. That shouldn't be there, should it? Do we need an extra brace there? There we go. So I'm glad I didn't just copy and paste all this in because I wouldn't have got these errors. And you learn from your errors, apparently. Very true though, isn't it? Right, so we've got main runs one async function. The async function returns either OK or an error, standard error. Don't use Rust style dunder there, or Cloudflare won't like it. So response dot. So when you use request, you get a response response object. From that response object, you can then get a bytes stream, and then you can iterate over that stream using next, which you get from futures util stream ext. So when I knew even less, I used to think, why use all this futures stuff when you're using Tokio? Because surely Tokio handles all the futures with its Tokio runtime, but not the streaming. If you've watched this all the way through, then congratulations, because you're obviously very very dedicated. But the gist for this code I can make available is currently, it's currently private on my GitHub, but I can make it public if you want it. I think Rust being partially systems programming, it's very worthwhile to learn using I/O with futures, stream, creating files, streaming chunks, keeping count of chunks, file.flush. Again, I'm not sure if that's just, I think that's specific or most needed for Linux, but maybe wrong. Let's just check that. I think different platforms handle it differently. I was hoping to see some operating system specific stuff, notes. Little Endian order to the underlying writer. Maybe not. But there we go. One last run of this code and then we'll go and do something useful. So if, what was it? If the chunk counts, so every 10 chunks. So every 10 chunks, approximately 1 or 2%, isn't it? And there's your file, your downloaded file. So the next thing to do would be to queue up multiple downloads. I know there are Rust tutorials for async file downloaders out there. But this is, I know it's taken a long time, but it's only about 50 lines of code. I think this is probably more, 44. This is probably a more friendly intro. You can pause this. So that's the first 20 lines. There you go. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, all the stuff. To be honest, it hardly matters because channel's not monetized. Probably never will be. But yeah. See you next time.